So I'm taking my afternoon social distancing walk through the rain, and I can't help but think about the big picture on days like this. See, according to the Bible, the history of the world ends in bliss. No matter where we find ourselves now, we know that we're going to end up in the perfect city, the place where there will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain. You know, where Jesus wipes away all the tears from our eyes. This place where we can't help but cry out, "Holy, holy, holy," because anything else seems superfluous. And as great as that sounds, though, the bliss of heaven isn't the point of what Jesus is doing in the world. Jesus said that he came to give us this eternal kind of life, but he defines that as knowing God and Jesus Christ, whom he sent. John's glorious vision in the book of Revelation is just a symbolic manifestation of the goodness of our relationship with Jesus. So, most of us know that we haven't arrived there yet, right? I don't normally get lost crying out, "Holy, holy, holy," and feeling like no other words will do. But we do pray. We pray to get closer. We practice worshiping him by singing songs together on Sunday morning, alone in our houses. We spend time listening, alone in prayer, and also during open worship at church. We partner with him. We work together doing the work that he is doing in the world. And bit by bit we grow. We really are being transformed into his likeness. But throughout the church calendar, there are these rare moments. Chief among them is today, Good Friday, where we don't look ahead to the moment where we will get to be present with him in heaven. We don't even pay attention to the present, where we are learning bit by bit to be more and more like him. We take one day a year and we just focus on what it cost us to get here. What it cost for us to have this opportunity to know God and Jesus whom he sent. See, in order for us to get to the point where we could stand before a holy God, so wrapped up in love for him that everything else fades away, we need to be relationally reconciled to God. In order for us broken people to be reconciled to a perfect God, Jesus needed to give us access to a new kind of life through his life and death and resurrection. But in order for him to be resurrected, he needed to come down. He needed to meet us where we are in the midst of this broken, sick, sidetracked world. And he needed to die. And he did. He experienced the worst of it. He experienced politicians who were willing to murder in order to preserve their power, and friends who deserted him when he didn't meet their expectations. Family who turned against him instead of supporting him in his hour of greatest need. And he let it kill him. He let us, the people who belong to and create the brokenness of the world, nail him to a cross. And he hung there until he died. So on Sunday we're going to celebrate. And Kent's going to preach a sermon about the resurrection, and we're going to meet with each other on Facebook Live, and we're going to have the biggest party that social distancing and sheltering in place will allow. But today, we spend one day remembering what it cost. We feel humbled, we feel sad, but most of all, we give thanks. So there's this practice that the people of God have been doing for the last 4,000 years at least, that when we recognize we're in the middle of a sacred moment, we stop and we fast and we pray. So fasting is choosing to eliminate our access to something that the world considers essential, something the world can't do without. And by eliminating our access to it, we expose the value system of the world as being sidetracked. And we gain more access to the things that really matter. So, in our case, that's our relationship with Jesus. In the past, when people have fasted, they've skipped meals mostly. But in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, I find that Wi-Fi access is actually more valued than food right now. So as we spend time in the next 2 days and before we get to that celebration on Easter morning, as we spend time remembering what it cost, let's spend some time fasting. And maybe the best way we can fast in this season is just turning off the Wi-Fi for a couple of hours. Maybe it's just putting our devices in the other room and spending some time in prayer. When we do that, we turn the attention of our lives to Jesus. We remember what really matters. Our relationship with the one who loves us more than anything, who gave himself up for us, who died so we might live.